There's really not that many walls. I
gotta
be honest with you, there's really only 4.
I mean, okay.
Well, the film is R-rated and it's not intended for children.
Ah, but of course children are gonna see it.
Can I finish?
It was so brutal.
Yeah.
And yet it was like a car crash.
Can I finish? Hello? Can I finish?
So I go up for the wave, and then I hear like, Candace! And I'm like, fuck.
Can I finish? Please, can I finish? Okay, I finished.
TGIF, everybody.
So upset by that. TGIF, everybody. Thank you for listening to the Can I Finish podcast. I've been Billy. That's over.
Welcome to the last episode of the Can I Finish podcast.
Getting the giggles out of the way.
So not cut
Thank
that
you
out.
for coming to the Can I Finish podcast. I'm your host, Billy Mack.
I'm JR.
And let's start it up. Thanks for that intro, dude. Let's slowly switch it up. How's everything by you?
Good. I thought it would be funny.
Yeah, no, I liked it. I thought it was pretty funny. I had no idea that was going to happen. Okay. So the title of this episode is going to be something along the lines of deeper in the hole, or like further
Just
down the
make an
rabbit hole.
entendre into putting things in holes.
Exactly.
All right, I get
it seems to do well for this channel.
That's true. Real proud of those 500 units.
I'm proud of all those units. I'm proud of all those units.
Those are
I
my
literally
units.
like.
Those are my units.
I literally like look at it every day. I'm like, it's like 178, 180. I'm like, oh.
Just goes to show you, if you put porn in the title of something,
I know
it becomes the most watched thing on your YouTube channel.
which is just so funny because like I think about that all the time too, because everything else is like stuck like under like 10, which whatever. Like I really don't care.
I'm just gonna start putting the porn tag on every video we
Might
do
as
now.
well at this point. We talked about it, so you can put it there. Porn for the views. That's
Porn.
That's the title name. Porn for the views.
This episode is called Porn because we want you to watch it.
All right. So the things that I have watched, they're all good. So I didn't know like how I wanted to like go and do this. So I'm gonna give you 4 options.
Okay.
Option 1.
I don't like it. What's option 2?
Option 2 is going to be something I think is interesting, and I'm going to try to convince you of something.
All right.
Option 3 is something that was funny that I think can be brought back if done a certain way.
Okay. Meaning like media-wise, or just it's too vague and I won't know unless I choose
It's too vague, and then
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Something kind of sad and interesting, and we would have a lot to talk about on. And not like sad, like emotionally sad. Like you'd be like, "Ah, man," that type of sad.
Okay.
And I have to actually go back to the first one. That's right. Something really funny and interesting. So funny, interesting.
Convince me of something.
Convince you of something.
Yeah, convince me of something, because it works so well in the Pixar theory.
Because you're referring to that I called you the other day because I listened to it back because it just aired while we're recording this. And you're like agreeing to everything that I'm saying up until the Cars, where it just completely
Takes me so
and
far
then
out
tanks my score at the end.
Yep.
Which is why I was so upset by
You
that.
could have had 8s.
Yeah, I know, right?
8s across the board if it wasn't for Cars.
So I'm gonna try to convince you that something's kind of cool.
All
So I want to give proper credit to the stream because it's SGQ or DQ. I knew I was gonna mess that up.
SDQ or SGDQ?
SGDQ.
Okay, SGDQ.
That is the stream where they the channel is GDQ, which is Games Done Quick. They're all speedrunners.
Games or gangs?
Games
Done quick.
like video games.
Got it.
Yeah.
Speedrunners in games. Got it.
So they're speedrunners.
So they do speedruns. Got it.
So the event is actually really cool, and the reason why like all their money that they raise goes to cancer prevention. And they raised $3 million.
Really cool.
So on my very small platform that I have no power on, I say that that's a great cause, and you should go check them out. Anyways, so now the good stuff's out of the way.
Proud of those units.
Proud of all those units. Speed running is cool as shit.
The art of speed running. So for those of you who don't know, speed running is essentially playing a video game and going as fast as you can through it to complete it as quickly as possible.
Correct.
Meaning not doing any really side missions, or you're literally just.
It depends on what it is.
That's
it
true,
depends
too.
on what the rules are, because there's different percentage
So if you're just doing the whole game, you may have to do the side missions and stuff, but essentially you are not wasting any time. You're just running through. You're not worrying about what's in your inventory or any of that stuff.
Depending
You're
because
just
some of them you
going
have
as
to
quickly
collect
as
all
possible.
the stuff for
Yeah,
it.
no, but I'm talking
Right.
about it doesn't matter if we were doing a speed run in Borderlands.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about what weapon I'm using. I'm just trying to burn through this level as quickly as possible.
Depending on what the percentage finish is. So they have different categories. So you could run a game at 50%, which would be just the ending.
Right,
You could
just
run
do
it
the
at
game.
60%, and they have all these rules of what needs to be collected. So they did a lot of the Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask.
Yep.
And for people that played that game, that's
Such a good game.
most people would say it's their favorite game.
Ocarina of Time is my favorite.
But
Zelda
that
game
takes
ever.
you what, a week to finish? I mean, there's a lot to do in that.
I mean, I have it on my DS.
Yeah. If you
And
recall, what was the how long does it
I still
take
haven't
you
beat it.
roughly?
I still haven't
That's
beat
what I'm saying.
So
roughly,
when I first got it,
yeah,
I played it every day, and for a couple hours, 1 or 2 hours a day, for about a week, 2 weeks,
yeah,
and I went back and forth between that and another game. But
yeah.
For the amount of time I've put into it, I've only just gotten to be grown up Link. And I'm
you're still
I'm
you're
on my
the-
way to the forest temple. I've done nothing.
Yeah, you've done nothing.
And it was 2 hours a day for in a full week.
Yeah, you've done nothing.
Yeah.
So moral of the story.
But that's
is
just
that you have to put in.
I like to run around and
Yeah, for
explore and
sure.
stuff. The new Zelda game. If I ever play, what is it, Wind Waker? Not Wind Waker.
No, Wind Waker-
Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, fantastic.
If I
right?
ever play Breath of the Wild, if I ever get a Switch and can play Breath of the Wild, it
Yeah.
will take me years.
Yeah.
I'm gonna treat it like Skyrim.
Yeah, there's a lot to do in that.
Yeah.
But so in retrospect, they finished the game in 4 or 5 hours.
Right.
4 or 5 hours.
That's
That's
insanity.
it. And they do all these cool little glitches and flips and things like that. And I was just thinking to myself, how long does it take for people to figure out these glitches? That's the craziest part to me.
Yeah.
The actual so in the game, what they do is they manipulate the bomb in a certain way, so that way you can float in midair, and then you can propel yourself, and they call it super slides and things like that. And literally, I was just watching this stream for hours,
Mm-hmm.
and did that. Well, also when I watch things, for the most part, I usually break things up, especially when they're long, long
Yeah.
podcasts or long YouTube videos or anything.
It's hard
like
to just
that.
devote all your time to it.
Yeah, I usually do 30 minutes of something, and I'll turn it off, and then I'll do something else.
Chris
and things like
Berry, my co-host on Mystery in Our History, has a channel on YouTube that he has not been on in a very long time. But he used to just he had a Twitch and he had a YouTube channel where he would just play some games and just post videos of him playing games. And I would love watching it because a lot of the games that he plays are for PlayStation. What are they on now? 4?
I think they're on 4, yeah.
So he would have PlayStation 4 games like The Last
they're
of
4,
Us and
yeah.
that, those, and I want to play The Last of Us, but I don't
you
have a
don't have
PlayStation,
PlayStation.
so I can't.
Yeah,
So I live vicariously through him,
yeah.
but I can't watch him play for 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have to. I watch for a little bit and then I'll go back.
Yeah,
So I get what you're saying.
yeah, for sure. And the one that freaked me out the most was that there's this one, and if I'm going to recommend one for you to try to convince you that it would be worth a watch, it's the Metroid Impossible Run.
By these guys.
By these guys. So
Okay.
it's during the stream. And then another fun fact that you kind of learn by watching them, they actually have faster ways to do it, but they call it it's not live doable, because most of the time when they do a lot of these glitches, there's a high probability the game will actually just
Crash,
drop, just
right.
crash. That's what I was looking for. Drop, crash, same thing.
Same thing. It'll drop you or the game will crash.
Yeah. So they do a little bit dumbed down version when you're watching it live.
Gotcha.
So, anyways,
Yeah, because you're essentially breaking the game.
right, yeah, right, you're breaking the game, but the Metroid one was really amazing because Saturn, the company that made Metroid,
Yep.
When the creator originally made the game, he made what's called the impossible mode. And he was going to do, easy, medium, hard, impossible.
Mm-hmm.
And when they created it, he said that he said that he deleted it from the game because it was so impossible it's undoable. So they have like ROM hacks,
Mm-hmm.
which they can play games that are not available but were created.
Right.
These guys are speedrunning it because they have to. Because that's literally like you're just dying the entire time. So
Like
that's the one if you're going to watch.
If you stick around to like try and fight something, you're dead. So you just run through it and kill anything you can and then keep going.
And then he doesn't have the proper power-ups for certain places where he's supposed to have them. So it just makes your like life so much harder.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it is absolutely worth the watch.
Okay.
That would be the one I would recommend if I were to recommend one.
Is it like the YouTube video about the Super Mario? Like the Impossible Super Mario?
No. No.
Okay, Mario.
No.
Here we go.
No, that was
save the
great.
princess.
That's a great
But
video.
that's like an Impossible Mario
right,
run.
but that's like, yeah, no, you'll like. There's no way I could possibly explain it
they're
without
not.
watching
They're not
it
necessarily doing it to be funny. They're just doing it because
because
it's
it's
cool.
literally impossible.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, that Metroid thing is as impossible as that stupid Mario video was, where he's just like,
Yeah.
you just drop down into blackness and you like have to just kind of.
But that's
find
like more
that
of a funny impossible, like
yeah.
you're saying.
It's
Like,
okay,
yeah.
Here we go.
So that
It's one of my favorite videos.
It's such a good video. So that had me thinking. So that would be my recommendation.
Right.
And the nice thing about that too is that it's a really good background fodder because I love like background stuff that I can just have in the
You just
background.
leave on.
Yeah, because they do like such like they're explaining everything for so long.
Yep.
That they'll be like, okay, I'm about to do like a really cool jump. So basically, what's gonna happen? I have to jump off this wall, jump off that, do this.
Yeah.
If I don't do it, I'm gonna die. So then later, like I'll be like doing something. I'll
And
be
you
like
hear,
working.
I'm gonna
and then-
die. Wait, what?
Yeah, and they'll basically tell you like when to tune out and when to tune in, like every time.
That's cool.
So
That's so
it's really cool stuff. So then I was thinking on top of that, do you ever think that you personally, before we do everybody else, I saw that, it's all right. Do you think you personally can ever get into esports?
No.
I don't think so for me either.
I don't think so. I mean, so multiple reasons. One, I am a bigger fan of role-playing games than I am of online PvP.
Player versus player for
Correct.
people that don't know.
So, like, I enjoy what Borderlands is because it's a role-playing game that you get to play with friends. You're not trying to kill each other, none of that. Like, you're killing the computer and you're having fun, and those kind of games are fun for me. When whatever the last Modern Warfare I played was, and I really don't even remember which one it was. I think it was the one that like first came out with the zombies.
That's Call of Duty.
Right. But it wasn't the original Call of Duty. It was like Modern Warfare 1 or something like that.
Oh, Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Yeah. It was like the original. It was either the original
I couldn't tell you which
zombies
one
or
it
the
was.
second one with zombies. Whichever one was the last one I played. Anyway, I enjoyed that game
Yeah.
up to a point, and I was okay. Like I had games where like I could go 35-10,
Right.
but more often than not, I was like 20-20.
Yeah.
So like I don't think I possess the skill set for esports.
Yeah.
Like and so like that's why I'm saying like for you, I know how good you are at Overwatch. So like
Shout out.
it would be much easier for you to do Overwatch stuff than for me.
Sure.
Like I enjoyed Overwatch. I think the concept of Overwatch is pretty cool, but it's not a game that I go out of my way to play. If everybody's playing Overwatch and they're like, "Hey, come play Overwatch." Sure.
Yeah.
But it would definitely be way too hard for me to be into esports.
Well, first off, you lied because we've invited you to play Overwatch and you won't. So how dare you lie?
That's not true. I didn't want to. It's totally different. It's not that I won't. It's I didn't feel like doing it because there was something more important to do, like any other game.
Second, Call of Duty World at War was the first one to have zombies in it.
So that it wasn't that one.
Right. Because then it's Black Ops, Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3. You most likely played Black Ops 1 or 2 because those were the most popular ones that most people played.
1 was the one, but it was definitely...
Modern Warfare was its own different game.
Right, but Modern Warfare had zombies.
I never played a single Modern Warfare game, so I couldn't tell you.
I'm almost positive.
I'll take your word for it, but yeah. And then to your last statement, I've tried. I've actually watched a couple of the professional Overwatch games.
Right.
I'm just even when I was like super into it, because I'm not as into that game as much as I used to be.
Right.
It wasn't really for me. I don't know. I feel like it's pretty weird, but the amount of people that went blew my mind. They filled out the entire Barclays Center.
Yeah. So 2 things.
Go ahead.
1, I believe it's Modern Warfare 3.
Okay.
Was the last one I played. Because I think I might have dabbled with Black Ops 2, but I didn't like play it.
Yeah.
I remember I played Black Ops.
A lot of people played that game.
I remember Modern Warfare 3. Everything else after that I did not play. I think it got, because it was too much of the online changed for me.
Yeah.
After Modern Warfare 3. Like same thing with Halo.
Halo 2 was the
Halo
best
2 was
online
the most fun online.
Absolutely.
And then Halo 3, it was a totally different experience. And it was still fun, but it wasn't the same.
I was told I was world ranked at Halo 2, so suck on those. And my clan beat the #1 clan in the world in Big Team Battle. And I was told that I would have no future in it. So imagine if I kept practicing and kept being like a super nerd.
So
I could be a virgin and playing professional
that's
esports.
True. Well, you could also be making millions of dollars like Ninja.
Dude.
So
millions, bro. Millions.
But so the second thing is, for me, it's very similar. E-gaming is very similar to me to baseball. In the sense of I love playing, but it's not as fun for me to watch.
I can understand that.
Watching live is a little bit better.
Yeah.
Like going to a game. So I've never seen an e-sport live.
Yeah.
I'm sure that I would enjoy it more than just like watching a video on it.
Yeah.
Like I know people that watch what is it, League of Legends?
Yeah.
Where like you have the teams and everything. And
Yeah.
they're like this big on the screen and it looks like Diablo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like I know people that literally would just watch videos of League of Legends battles.
Sure. Yeah.
And I'm like, how do you sit through this?
Well,
like, how is this not the most boring thing in the planet to you?
For sure. It like the weird thing for me about it, right? Because I think StarCraft is the #1 like watched esport game.
Sure.
Because
and I've never even heard of it really. Like I've heard the
You never
name
heard of StarCraft?
I've heard the name StarCraft.
Yeah.
I have no idea what the premise
I've
is.
never played
the
it.
games.
Because it's
Nothing.
a computer game. That's
that's why.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
I don't.
But like all those guys,
I played,
none of those guys.
The
are
only computer game
from,
I ever played is WoW, and that was for literally a day.
Yeah, but for esports, you're not gonna.
Right, you're not wowing. You're not
no,
wowing.
But you're not gonna have controllers.
Of
That's what I'm
Warfare,
saying.
World of Warcraft. Wow.
World of Warcraft.
Okay.
Yeah. They don't play console games. They play computer games.
Right.
So like.
But even like the esports people, like
they
Ninja's
don't,
playing computer games, not like Xbox.
None of them play console games. They all play computer games.
That's stupid.
Yeah, that's like where the professional part of it comes. It's not considered professional to play on a system.
Why? Because I can put my 3 hands on the FSD keys and use a mouse. Like, that's ridiculous.
They say the aim of a computer player is always going to be better than someone on a console because
give them a controller.
The thumbsticks on the controller, like if you take like the best aimers, because they've done it before, like there's YouTube videos on it, and like they take like the best guys with controllers and the best guys with like mouse and keyboard, and the mouse and keyboard wins every time.
Yeah, so give those guys with a mouse and keyboard a controller and see what happens.
Yeah, but they're saying the top of the line is the computer. Yeah, I mean, I don't also have $3,000 to get a gaming computer.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because my $300 system that I can also like watch Hulu and it's attached to my TV and like all this other stuff, like I could easily do that.
Right. everything you can do with an Xbox, you can do on a computer. But the difference is that who wants to hook their computer up to a fucking 75-inch flat screen television?
That seems like a lot.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because then all you can use it for is gaming.
Right.
Like,
right.
You don't.
Well, no. I mean, you can
because,
stream
like,
things through your computer.
Yeah, but for me, like, if I'm using a computer, I'm sitting at a desk. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not.
But if the purpose of the
not,
computer was to be to play on the big screen, then I'm sure you would have that setup be different.
Yeah, but then it's not really a computer.
Yeah.
It's just a really expensive Xbox.
Essentially.
That's my point.
Essentially. So now, do you think it could be something big? Now you're out of it.
Okay, so esports.
Yeah.
So are you trying to convince me that
could
esports
it be no
is cool?
No, I was trying to convince you speedrunning was cool. Now I'm on a different tangent.
Oh, we've gone completely off topic.
Yeah. I'm trying to
check.
I'm trying to listen. Speedrunning is cool as shit. It's very nerdy to say that out loud.
I think speedrunning is interesting. I don't know if it's cool as shit.
So that's why I wanted you to watch that one video, because I want to convince you that it's cool.
Esports is probably the fastest growing sport in the entire world.
Well, I hate when people say that type of thing. Let me explain why. Because
I said probably. I don't have the stats to back it up.
No. Because you can really make that about anything. Because hold on. Because UFC used to say that for years.
Right, it's the fastest growing sport.
Right, but UFC was also coming out when nothing else was coming out. Just how esports is coming out
right,
really when nothing else is coming out.
And that's how you can make that
right.
Thing.
So 0 to 100 is a lot bigger than 1,000 to 1,010.
If you're taking all the sports into consideration,
right?
Like
they're going to be a steady increase versus the mass increase of the sport that just came out.
MMA is clearly growing faster than boxing.
Right.
It's also growing faster than football, baseball, basketball because they're all established sports.
Right.
Like
there's a steady incline in that sport. Yes. They don't spike.
So right now, esports is in it's still, as far as I'm concerned, in its infancy.
For sure, they've only really been doing it.
They're really I mean, like ESPN 8, the Ocho has.
It was ESPN 2. It was Overwatch.
ESPN 8 is an actual thing now. By the way,
is it owned by ESPN?
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
I think they made like an Ocho. I think it's like stream only or something, like ESPN Plus. Like you can get
ESPN Plus. Yeah.
No, but ESPN Plus has like the Ocho. Look it up. I'm almost positive because I've seen it. I swear I've seen it. I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong, but I'm almost positive I've seen it before.
Sorry, this one has to be checked.
That's okay.
But ESPN did have Overwatch the finals.
Right. But they're playing that on the computer.
What do you mean?
Overwatch.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I just play on console because
that's fine. Like
I'm not a virgin.
Right. Exactly. I'm not an idiot. That's right. I don't care that you make more money than me. Yeah. You're a fucking douche.
Well, those contracts are like not as expensive as you think they are. I like looked into it.
No.
Like they're getting paid like 50, 60 grand.
It depends on the contract. Like Twitch contracts are not where the money's made. The money's made with whatever that other site is. That Ninja just went to.
Twitch.
No. Ninja just left Twitch and went to some other site.
Didn't he go to like Facebook Gaming?
No.
When I type in ESPN the Ocho, it just shows me the movie. So I think you're wrong. You can't both be looking at things at the same time. Mixer?
He went to Mixer.
One person looking at things at one time. It's the new rule established. What? I thought I was looking up ESPN the Ocho.
ESPN Ocho, complete schedule of ESPN 8 programming for the win, USA Today.
You're lying. I just typed it in and that does not come up. Click it. All these silent pauses while we do this. This makes no sense.
It's a video.
It makes no sense. It's not only a video, because we're now out on iCloud's SoundCloud.
Dodgeball. 12 a.m. Dodgeball, the true underdog story. Here's the full schedule per ESPN. Dodgeball.
Okay, I don't
2019 Spike College Championship.
Perfect.
Big Buck World Championship. World Lumberjack Championship. World Axe Throwing Championship. Las Vegas Highland Games.
So it absolutely does.
It's
finish.
a really thing.
So do you think that people will actually watch esports?
Yes. It might not be for another year or another few years until it actually like takes off.
Yeah.
But I 100% believe that it will be. But that's also the problem is like the generation right now that is say between 9 and 15. Right? the kids that are in between those ages,
Yep.
when they are 5 years older,
Yep.
they will be dictating the content
For sure.
of sports
Yeah.
to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And all they do is play Fortnite with their friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there are kids that are like 10 years old in our neighborhood here, and all like they just play Fortnite
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I would
to the
do.
point where like their parents take away their iPads because
Oh no.
it's too much Fortnite. So
You
and
play
that's
Fortnite on iPad?
yeah, you can play Fortnite on mobile, iPad, everything. So shout out to the camps because I used you as an example. Aiden, I hope you're not still grounded from the iPad. All right, I got to mark the time so that I can tell them to listen because
There you go.
They're also age restricted from things.
Fair enough.
So I have to allow the parents to show them where I counted. I called them out. No, but like those are the kids that are going to be dictating like
I
what
agree.
new things are important.
Yeah.
And online gaming is very big to them.
I
So
could see it being
within
very
the next
large.
5 years. I can see in the next 5 years the purse going from 3 million to like 10 million.
But the only problem with it, though, is it circles back to something that you were saying before of like that you thought maybe I could get into the Overwatch pro
Right.
scene. For me, like I have the appreciation of some of the things that they're doing because I know how hard they're doing.
Right.
Where you would just watch it and just be like, okay, like it wouldn't register as much with you because you don't play the game.
As much, right? Like
Right.
I've played. So like if it was Overwatch and I watched the Overwatch like finals to see some of the kills that people get.
Right.
On
I'm
there,
sure you would be like,
I
wow,
would be
that
able to
looks-
appreciate, be like, oh my god, that's crazy. Because I've played almost every character and I've played against people and I've gotten owned and I've had some cool kills. Like I get it.
For sure. But you're not going to be able to catch up on everything that's
No.
like, oh my god, do you just realize what that guy
Like
just
I
did?
I won't be able to appreciate the strategy as much.
Right.
Like I'll know because I know like what characters are good against other characters
Sure.
and stuff like that. So like when something specific happens, I'll be like, ooh, that was a good move.
Yeah.
But the overall strategy arc of a match,
Yeah.
I would not be able to appreciate as much as someone like you would.
And that's esports' problem. Because esport is not one thing, it's a multitude of different things.
Right. There's so many different games.
If
There's
you watch
Madden,
the NFL,
there's-
there's fighting games, there's sports games, there's Tetris is a pro sport. Like all these different categories
League of
have
Legends and all that stuff.
right.
So,
So that game's only going to be
That's
as
the problem,
successful
yeah.
as people as many people play it.
So what
if you
did-
have a big player base,
what did
then you'll have a
Ninja
big
win
fan base.
that he won the millions of dollars? What game did he win?
Well, that was the tournament. They were the tournament's
of
prize.
What game?
Of Fortnite.
It was Fortnite.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming that because I know he like plays Fortnite.
Right.
But
So it might have been Fortnite.
so I do actually think it will, but I think it's further away because it has
you
to
might
be
be
the
right.
perfect storm.
You
It
might
has to
be
be
right.
it has to be the perfect storm. But I still actually think it's gonna work though. It's got to be one game that is just like a critically like
That's what'll
everybody
happen.
agrees.
That's what'll happen.
Right.
It'll be within the next 5 years. There will be a game
Right. That
where
everybody
everybody
is
loves.
playing it.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. Like Fortnite is right now, with like the majority of people, myself excluded,
Right.
playing Fortnite.
Right.
I don't think you play Fortnite either.
I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not
a fan.
that style of game, but
Exactly. It's not in my wheelhouse. So like, but a game like that, like 5 years ago, give or take, it was Call of Duty,
right.
and now it's Fortnite.
Right.
And
So
so
remember how many people played Halo?
yeah, that was 10 years
So
ago.
many.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
but that's the thing is like, or 10 or 15 years ago or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So like every say 5 to 7 years, there's a game that everybody plays
Right.
online against each other. So I think within the next 5 years, that game will happen. And when that game happens, esports will capitalize and make that game the game.
I don't think there'll ever be the one game.
but until
yeah,
the next game comes out.
for sure.
You know what I mean? It'll almost be like a gamer's career
yeah.
will be as long as that game comes out, because don't forget this sport is based fully in technology
Yeah.
and relies solely on the advancing the advancement of technology.
And one of the best parts about it, it's the only sport that when you see the pro athletes, you're like, I would beat the shit out of that guy.
Physically.
You know what I mean?
Physically.
It's the only one. You're not saying that about anyone in the NFL, anyone in
Correct.
the MLB, anyone in the
so-
NBA.
okay,
maybe
so-
some golfers.
Hold on, though.
but
Hold
not
on,
all of them.
Correct. So I want to go on record saying two things.
JR's hot takes.
The hot takes. JR's hot takes.
Get ready to get burned.
Hot take 1.
Jesus.
You are not athletes.
They're pro athletes.
You are
dude.
professional, yes, but you are professional gamers.
Dude, they're more
you
athletic
are
with the
not
mouse.
athletes.
Their
There is-
wrist control is so
no,
much
no.
better than yours.
No.
You can't be born with that type of wrist control. You know?
What now, bro?
No.
What now?
No, it's swing. It's swing.
Oh, sorry.
yeah.
Anyway, you're not athletes.
And you have to have finger
You
control.
may have athletic ability,
awareness.
but you're not an athlete.
finger
A
pressing,
professional athlete plays a physical sport.
being able to sit for hours.
Hot take number 2. Esports is not a sport.
It's a sport.
It's not a sport.
What do you mean?
It is not a sport.
Why can't it be a sport?
Because it is played inside
It's an inside
without any physical exertion.
We talked about the wrist control, dude. That's
Fuck
a lot
the
of
wrist
arm
control.
movement.
I'm sorry, this is not a physical activity, therefore cannot be a sport.
I don't know if that's true. Would you say curling is a physical activity?
Yes, because you are
Physical?
physically curling. The sweeping, have you seen the sweeping?
I've seen the sweeping.
You break a sweat sweeping.
By the way, I found a place in
Bridgeport.
Bridgeport. Dude, and you can drink and play.
Also, for the record, my goal, hot take number 3.
Oh, hot take.
Yeah, this is a,
So
this
we're
is a
still on
bonus
JR
hot
hot
take.
takes.
This is a bonus hot take. Hot take number
But
3.
we were only promised 2.
I know. This is where you're lucky I'm not saving this for Patreon. Hot take number 3. Give me 6 months with nothing else to do and only training every day, and I can make the Olympic curling team.
Oh, the curling team.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a hot take.
Yeah. I that's believable. I
Because
thought you were going to say
the United
esports,
States,
and I was going to take
the
that
United
bet.
States men's curling team literally is just a bunch of dads drinking beer.
So they're not athletes,
they're athletic.
but they're playing a sport.
They are playing a sport.
But they're not athletes.
You don't have to be an athlete to play a sport. Let me rephrase. Hang on a second. No, because I want to word this. You didn't get me.
I got him
You didn't get me.
Get the time, 35. Got him good. That was a good one. Oh, that was so sad.
If you no, hold on. If you play a sport, you're an athlete. But you have to play a sport.
Okay.
So e-gaming is not a sport.
Right.
Curling is a sport. Therefore,
Right.
if you play curling, you are an athlete. You're an Olympic athlete.
But you
What
said
I-
they're
here's
not
what I'm afraid
athletes,
of.
though.
I
They're not
misspoke.
athletic.
I misspoke, and I take it back.
No.
Eat a dick. Here's what I'm afraid of, and this is where I will tap out altogether on sports, because I know for a fact it's going to happen. When, I don't know, but it will eventually happen. When e-gaming becomes an Olympic event,
No.
absolutely, I guarantee it.
Olympic?
I guarantee e-gaming will be an
How-
Olympic
how mu-
event
what's the
in
time?
our lifetime.
In our lifetime?
Yes.
Well, that sucks, because if you die, I don't get paid. That's the worst bet for me. If it ever happens, I have to pay you.
I will leave a
If I
trust
die-
in my will. I will put
What
into
if I
my
die
will.
first?
Then you put it in your will. There's a living trust.
Well, no, because it
for
would be our
me.
lifetime, so I wouldn't have to pay you.
No, in our lifetime, meaning while either of us are alive.
I'm dead.
Right, but I'm still
Good
alive.
luck getting my money when I'm dead.
You put it in your will.
I'm not putting nothing in my
Well,
will
then
for you.
it's clearly not a bet.
Exactly. It's a
It
terrible
will-
bet for me to take.
It'll be an Olympic event before you and I are 50 years old.
I find that hard to believe, but hey, that's your JR's hot takes presented
Hot
by
take.
nobody.
Presented by this absolute drinking apparatus, because it's called a glass, and I forgot.
And Absolute does not
No,
sponsor this
it's
podcast.
just this glass. This glass is our sponsor.
All right. Now we're down to 3. I
Okay.
can give you something funny and interesting.
Yep.
I can give you something sad but interesting. A lot of interestings here.
It's
And
interesting.
what was the other one? Oh, funny and it could work in a certain way.
That one.
That one.
Yeah, funny, and it could work in a certain way.
I-
For 500, Alex. Old
have
Trebek, you rogue.
been
I'll take therapist. It's therapist.
Yeah. What does the cow say? Or no, what's the dog say?
What
Moo.
does that's the sound a cow makes. That's the sound your mother made last night. Such a great skit. I miss old SNL.
I've been watching the best of Whose Line Is It Anyway skits. And I don't know why, but some of them just had me like tearing up laughing.
They're fantastic.
Yeah, that was a really funny show back in the day.
So
Drew Carey.
It was Drew Carey was the host.
Yeah.
But Wayne Brady,
Yep.
I could take or leave depending on the episode
Right.
because he was funny.
Yeah.
And they
And gave us one of the best skits in comedy of all time.
which one?
Wayne Brady gonna have to choke a bitch.
Yes, exactly. Yes. But I didn't like that they forced the musical shit down my throat.
It
Every
is kind of
time.
impressive how he thinks of all those songs.
Oh,
on the spot-
absolutely. No,
on
I'm
the
not
spot.
saying he's not talented.
Yeah,
Very funny, very talented guy. I could just do without the amount, the volume.
yeah.
I didn't mind the musical skits, but it was the volume in which, like, if he was on, and if there was another guy that was somewhat musically inclined,
Like Chip.
remember Chip or Brad Sherwood?
Yeah.
They would always make them do stuff with Wayne in the musical department. They were clearly not in the same realm
Right.
as him, which
The other guys were good, though.
Yeah, they were, but the argument could be made that like them not being as good as him actually made it funnier.
Yeah.
Because they're like fighting to keep up, and he's like dancing circles around him.
I don't think that it was that big of a distance. Only because I've just been watching them. Like they're all pretty
fair.
funny.
I
mean,
so,
I get your point though.
yeah,
Wayne Brady
like
is like
that.
definitely the best at like the actually singing
but I
aspect
just feel like
of
they
it.
forced that stuff a little too hard.
Sure.
But Colin and Ryan were hands down the best two guys on that show.
So I remember watching it back in the day. Like I remember watching it in my dad and mom's room, like
Yep.
in their bed, like watching it on the TV. And I remember when I was like young, thinking that Wayne was the funniest.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad always said that Colin and
Colin and
Ryan
Ryan.
were funnier. But
Hands
because I was
down.
at such an age,
Yeah.
I like didn't get it. So like now that I'm much older watching
their
it,
jokes, their humor was a little more mature.
Funny. They're so funny.
They're
the two of
amazing.
them like make that show.
I've fallen down rabbit hole after rabbit hole of 10 times Ryan Stiles owned everyone on
Yes, that's
Whose
how it
Line Is It
started
Anyway.
for me. That's
10
how it started.
times Colin Mockery
Dude,
owned everyone on Whose Line Is It Anyway.
that was literally the rabbit hole I was on. That's where that
Yep.
started, and then I was watching full skits
Just down,
and then like
down the rabbit hole. I
That's
would
how
just
I
go
go.
down the rabbit hole.
That's how I do.
On those. And it would only be those two.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't care 10 times Wayne Brady got everybody. I
Yeah.
didn't care 10 times Brad Sherwood got everybody.
I watched like all of them.
It was literally just Colin and Ryan just every time. My favorite skit that they did and it was like there were different variations of it, but like scenes from a hat
Yeah,
where he would pick up the hat and then it would be two guys here, and one guy would come up and they would like say something and until the other one laughed.
yeah,
And then that person goes and then the next person comes in and they just keep going.
yeah.
Like those were my favorite scenes because Ryan and Colin would always own those.
Oh yeah.
Until the one time that like somebody would get them
yeah.
and they would just sit there like, oh shit,
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
walk off.
Yeah.
And then they would be like, I got you now. I thought of it.
But I didn't realize how essential Drew Carey was to that show.
Oh,
because
yeah.
they brought that show back, and then
Aisha Tyler.
Yeah, not funny.
Woof.
And although Drew really didn't do much, he was just great to make fun of. Like he was endless.
Yeah, you can't
of the, like,
call
now-
Aisha Tyler like a big fat person.
Yeah,
It doesn't work.
yeah,
Also, she's not a big fat person.
right.
She's quite attractive.
Yeah. All the more reason why it doesn't work.
Exactly.
And it's also kind of weird to watch like the time difference.
If you
too.
actually, what's really crazy about that show
Yeah.
is if you watch really carefully, I would say 90% of the shows, Aisha wears the exact same jacket in a different color.
Really?
Yes.
That's gonna bother me.
Yep, you're gonna go back and watch it.
Of course I
You'll
am.
never unsee it.
Of course.
It's literally the exact same jacket. My wife pointed it out to me, and I can't unsee it. And it drives me nuts now. I can't watch them because it's literally like, oh, now it's green.
So now that show is over again, correct?
I don't think they're doing any new ones
So
unless it's on some, some like channel that.
I don't believe they
It's
are,
like
because I
you
think
have
they
to
brought
pay
it
extra
back
money.
and then it didn't work. Because I believe ABC still owns the rights to it. Anyways, I believe there is a way to make
Oh,
that
no,
show
yeah.
work. Go ahead.
Yeah.
It's still on?
It says it is. Aisha Tyler, 2013 to today.
Oh, so it is still on.
Yeah, it's open-ended.
Well, so, okay, it still doesn't derail anything because I think that show's biggest problem is that it's on television.
Yes.
This is an internet show.
Yes. It should be on either a YouTube channel
Right?
or Netflix.
Or not even Netflix. I'm thinking more YouTube or more like some sort of internet-based where you can do skits. Because the best of is the best parts of that show. Because
Netflix would be good. Something like Netflix or Hulu would be good because then you can binge it.
I guess.
Like,
but
remember,
full episodes can be tough to watch.
They can be, but like if you look, remember when it lasted for a couple seasons, Joel McHale. When Joel McHale had a show that came out on Netflix, the one thing that I really like, it was okay, it was decent. You know Talk Soup, the guy from E! And Community? Anyway, it doesn't matter.
I don't think I know who that is.
So he was essentially Tosh.0 before Tosh.
Fair enough.
Tosh.0. He essentially took the show that he had on E, brought it to Netflix, and what they did that was smart was they filmed all the shows and then released them in a series.
Yeah.
So you got 6 or 8 shows at once so that you can just binge them.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing with stuff like this, and it's a lot harder to do that. People don't give them credit for that because you have to be able to be topical and pump out a bunch of content.
Yeah.
Like that's really
and
tough
mostly
to do.
clean too.
Yeah.
Mostly. I mean, they have the dirty like dick joke every here and there,
Yeah,
but they like not calling people like fat, stupid,
But to
ugly.
be able, so like Whose Line was great because it didn't have to be topical.
Right.
It could be topical when they wanted it to be.
Right. But could never win an award because Friends won every single year.
So, but like to put it on Netflix, that would be the benefit there is that you can just throw up a bunch of episodes. You just film a bunch of episodes in a row. You film for like 3 weeks straight and just do a bunch of shows like they did with, is that your final answer? Whatever. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Yeah.
Like they would just film show after show after show after show after show.
God. Is that your final answer before you got Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
So I can remember. That's how my brain works.
I got you. That you worked literally in reverse.
I had to,
that was great.
I had to.
It was it was great to watch.
So, but like they would film a bunch of them, and so like you would work for like 3 weeks,
right?
And then it would just air. All the shows would just air,
right?
So that would be the only way it would work on like something like Netflix or Hulu or something. But yes, I think just throwing it up on YouTube. Look at what happened with Key and Peele.
Yeah,
Key and Peele got canceled,
right? Exactly,
and they were like,
brought
okay,
back because of the YouTube
we'll just
views.
throw some skits. We'll just do a skit at a time.
Yeah,
throw it up on YouTube.
Yeah, and
it was so popular that Comedy Central was like, well, we fucked up, bring them back.
Yeah, but then they didn't fuck up because no one watched it again, and they were like, listen, we're trying. They're like, and they would even do YouTube clips that they were like, please watch the real show. If you really want to support us and keep us on Comedy Central, you need to watch on Comedy Central. It does not work the same way on YouTube.
Or they could have just gone to Netflix.
What do you mean?
If Key and Peele was on Netflix.
Oh.
Like,
now they're just both doing their own things.
Take the deal. I know.
Yeah.
But like my thing is that like you take the deal because Netflix just gives you money at this point.
Well, they didn't give me any money.
Well, and granted, like this is very hypocritical of me to say because I also am the person who's like when a sports person just takes the money and runs, it bothers me more. I mean, I get it.
I get it.
But at the same time, like from a competitive standpoint, for me,
not like
I
take
would
the money
rather
like Ricky Williams and run.
Correct.
Like leave the country.
Right. I guess it depends on where the player is at in their career. You know what I mean? Like, because everybody takes the big check, and that's fine. But if you keep taking the big check, you're never gonna win. You know what I mean? Like
some people,
Peyton
that's not
Manning,
that important.
Tom Brady, they're like, no, you can pay me. Like, I want my money.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like,
They
pay
take
me.
cut
You don't
cuts.
have to pay me as much as you should.
Absolutely.
Because I would rather you spend the money and get me good weapons.
Correct.
Whereas, like, the Chiefs just won. Mahomes is going to be the highest paid quarterback ever.
Yeah, because it breaks every single year.
Correct. So he's going to be the highest paid quarterback ever.
For sure.
And they're not going to keep any of his weapons.
Correct.
It's going to be him and Travis Kelce. And that's it.
But it's easy to be a fan and say it's about winning because all we care about is winning.
Right.
Because we're
Well,
fans.
But they got to do what's right for them.
Right.
I get that.
If I'm being handed that type of check, I'm probably going to take the money.
And you know what? I don't mind because, like, so for Patrick Mahomes, he's this early in his career. You take a 5-year deal or a 6-year deal or a 7-year deal, and you're the highest paid quarterback in all of football. It's up when you're like 31.
Right.
Right? You're still, like, as the past few years have shown, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, you can be a very good quarterback in your 30s.
Yeah, but most of those guys are done.
They're done now, but they're in their late 30s.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So,
yeah.
and that's
Fair,
my
fair.
point. Is
No,
he's going to
fair
be like
point.
31, 32, whatever it is. At that point, if
Yeah.
he has not repeated as a Super Bowl champion in that time frame, he would probably just go, listen, I'm still one of the best quarterbacks in the league. If he still is one of the best quarterbacks in the league, he will hopefully he would say, my contract's coming up. Give me a good contract, but let's spend some money on some people.
Understood. And I understand your point,
And
but
at that point,
that's
I'd be
a
okay.
fan aspect.
Right.
And
At that point,
it's
I'd be
easy to
okay.
have that opinion when all you truly care about is your team winning.
Right.
Because when
But
that's
for
all
me,
you
like,
care
I'm not
about.
a Kansas City Chiefs fan.
But I'm still saying though, like when that money's in front of you,
Right.
it's. I mean,
It's hard to say no.
If I
It's
say to
absolutely
you,
hard to say no. You're gonna be the highest paid YouTuber on the planet. I'm gonna go, gimme,
no, forget anything. Here's your check.
Yeah.
One of them's for $80 million. One of them's $100 million. Which one do you want?
What are the stipulations?
Here,
I mean, right off the bat,
For
I'm gonna
you,
just take the
nothing.
$100 million.
exactly.
If there are no stipulations, I'm gonna take the $100
but for
million.
you, there are no
But
stipulations.
if it affects outside aspects of my life,
But is it
what's
affecting
the
your
$20
life that
million
much?
worth?
It makes your team not as good, but you're
Right,
still
but that's-
receiving that money,
so-
though.
But that's my point. If I'm taking $100 million, like, so just let's use the example of Four Guys Media Network.
Perfect.
If I'm taking $100 million,
Yep.
and I get my money,
Yep.
and Four Guys Media Network on the whole suffers,
Yep.
and we lose viewership or we lose sponsorship, or because I'm assuming if we're making $100 million, we have plenty of sponsors,
Right.
at that point.
Or just some people that really support
Things
us.
go down,
Yeah.
right? I would weigh the decision of $100 million versus $80 million, because where's that $20 million going?
Right.
Is that $20 million now getting dispersed between you guys,
Right.
allowing us to do more, allowing us to increase revenue as a whole?
Mm-hmm.
If that's the case, I'd probably take the $80 million,
Right.
because it's a long-term thing,
Right.
and over the course of my lifetime, $20 million, if it's $100 million or $80 million, $20 million is still a lot of money.
Yes.
But I can still do a lot with $80 million.
Right. Because that is your mindset in trying to make something actually happen from an internet company.
Right.
Now, this isn't the case, but if same situation, and I am playing this character to help my case,
Yeah.
if I'm just in it for the money, I'm taking the $100 million
And that's
going.
fine. And
So-
that's
there's really
completely
nothing wrong
okay.
with that.
Right.
So,
So my point is that when I have no problem with them actually taking the money and running, it's more disappointing to me. Like, I don't
not mad,
have.
I'm
I'm not mad.
disappointed.
I'm disappointed. No, like, I lose respect for you in a certain standpoint. I'm not angry at you, or I don't disrespect or disagree with the decision that you've made. It's more along the lines of, that's the type of person you are. All right,
yeah.
that's fine. Then that's the type of person you are.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if that's all Patrick Mahomes cares about, or if that's all whoever like Bryce Harper, if that's all you care about is just getting that big check and going to
Well,
do
it's
that.
Uncapped Sports, so it's also a little bit different.
That's a
but,
totally different
yeah,
story.
yeah.
But my point is
Right.
that, like, he could have stayed in Washington. They would have given them the money.
And then won the World
And then won
Series.
the World Series. But he didn't. Somebody else came in and said, we're going to give you a big old check. And he said, okie dokie,
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
And then he said, I'm going to go get Mike Trout. And the Angels said, nah, no.
No. Let's take care of that problem by paying him a shit ton
right.
of money.
So what was it? 350? Hey, Mike, how's $100 more million?
Yeah,
Does that
really.
work for you?
Insane,
Yeah.
dude. Because the
But-
Yankees too. Because the Yankees were offering him stupid money.
Everybody
The Angels
wanted
were like,
it. Yeah.
absolutely
No,
not.
you're going to stay right here.
Yeah.
We'll never win a World Series.
Never.
But at least you have $450 million.
Correct.
And Mike Trout said, okie dokie.
Yeah. But see, like, originally, you did say you didn't like them when they did that. So I'm going to take some credit in saying that I pulled you back a little bit. So I won one argument. Give me a tally. I want the edit. Ding.
But you know what I mean?
I absolutely do.
It's just a matter of looking at it from different perspectives.
For sure.
Taking the money, you have
I just don't like it when people
professional
like the
sports
fan,
are a business.
Right. I don't like it when the fan is like, that's disgusting. Like, oh, I can't believe he would do that. Like, take the money and run.
Right. It's not disgusting.
You know, like, I just don't like that argument. I don't like when people think like that.
Because put yourself in his shoes.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
That's
Absolutely.
what I'm saying.
If somebody
$20 million is like hard to turn down, you know?
Right, absolutely, 100% it is.
Yeah.
If you're looking at it, it depends on the standpoint of which you are looking at it.
Yeah.
But if you're just, like, anybody who comes and goes, if I was as good as Bryce Harper and they offered me $350 million, or I could have stayed with the Washington Nationals, who, you know, whether or not you were having trouble with them. If somebody came to you and said, we're going to give you $350 million, and the Nationals were like, we can't afford to give you $350 million, we can afford to give you $300 million, you would take the $350.
Absolutely, I would.
Stop it.
Of course.
Anybody who says otherwise is a fucking lying dipshit.
Well, you know what's really funny, and what people say when they say that, or excuse me, what people will say to that statement is, well, when you're getting $300 million, $50 million is really nothing.
Is it though?
Is it though? Because now let's take the 300 out.
Sure, it is. 50 million's a lot.
You wouldn't say like 50 million isn't much without the parameter that 300 was in front of it.
Correct.
If I take out the parameter and say 50 million. Like, you're going to go, that's a lot of money.
For the record, for anyone out there that's going to try and comment and call me a hypocrite, oh, you just said you'd take the 80, not the 100 million.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Right.
Because A,
you're
this
a
is my
hypocrite.
company. Now, eat a dick. A, this is my company.
Right.
Which means the overall performance of the company is more important to me than my overall bank account,
right?
Because the better the company does, the better I do.
Right.
If Bryce Harper or Patrick Mahomes or Mike Trout had a stake in the team that they were playing for and then took the money and ran instead of, or even stayed. Like, if Patrick Mahomes was part owner of the Chiefs, had a small stake in the team, and let them pay him and make him the highest paid quarterback in the league, he's a dick. Because his mindset should be, I own part of this team.
Right. If his mindset is
the better
to
the
win.
team is, the better everybody does.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but that, again, that's if his mindset is that if he wants to win.
Right, but
if
that's
he wants the
not
money.
What this is.
Right.
What this is my job is to play this sport.
Yeah.
I play this sport better than anyone else, and you know how I know that? Because I just won a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah. Remember when we were talking about Whose Line Is It Anyway?
That's a minor detail.
We were talking about esports before, didn't touch on professional sports at all, and then we went to Whose Line.
I don't even know how we got here.
No, it's great. That's great content.
So, yeah, I don't know how we ended up on this topic. So I really don't know how we got here, but let's do the last topic of the day. You son of a bitch.
Oh shit.
Let's do sad. Tell me something sad but interesting.
Sad but interesting. Okay, so a channel that you and I absolutely love spiked on YouTube. It was on the top 10 YouTube most watched videos of the week. And it did.
And that's all for this week's episode.
Cliffhanger. Dude, and I got sad by it. So Team 4-Star announced they're no longer doing Dragon Ball Z Abridged.
At all. It's completely discontinued.
If you were born in the 90s and you are the male gender, there is a high probability.
How is that interesting?
That you watched Dragon Ball Z as a kid. And if you watched Dragon Ball Z as a kid, there is a site or a channel called Team 4-Star, and they do an amazingly funny job of abridging the series. And they got all the way up to the Cell Saga, and they released a video with the
Toei Animation Akira Toriyama, Fuji TV decided that they would send them multiple cease and desist letters.
Well, they
over
do
the
talk
course
about
of
it.
this.
A course of like 10 years,
Yeah.
dude. 10 years. And then like, so they did a well, I keep saying press conference. They did like a YouTube video where they were
which
just
is a
saying,
modern day press conference.
which is a modern day press conference, which they are basically just saying like, we've built a company now. There's multiple paychecks involved. If we spend this amount of time on Dragon Ball, which we want to do, like Toei is fighting us every day. There's a good chance that they'll win this fight in the long run.
Yeah.
So how am I supposed to pay my employees? Like, we have other things, and there are other things that we want to work on. Like, they have like multiple different abridged series already running.
Yeah.
And they're all very successful.
Final Fantasy VII Mecha Bridge is
really
hilarious.
funny, dude. Really funny show.
What's the?
That's all I've watched of theirs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's all I've watched.
Oh, Van Helsing or Helsing or whatever. It
Oh, that's the one for the Halloween episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are really
Those
good
are very
abridged,
funny
too.
as well.
I just hope they don't stop doing the other Dragon Ball Z stuff.
They said they're done with Dragon Ball Z abridged. I don't know what that
right?
means.
Abridged.
Yeah,
That's
but
the show abridged.
I would think that
but
they
I'm
would
talking
use
about
them at
like
all.
Two Saiyans play, Krillin plays, like
Where he's just doing the voice acting.
Yeah, the Team 4-Star Gaming stuff that they do.
Yeah,
is amazing.
yeah.
Vegeta plays. So, for those of you who aren't familiar with their particular channel, they have multiple channels. One is Team 4-Star Gaming or Team 4-Star Plays. Or something
You would know
like
better
that.
than me. I just watched Dragon Ball Z,
I'll tell you
Z
right now.
abridged
I'll
episodes.
tell you right now, because it's in my. It's not in here. I'm logged in.
But
I'm
regardless,
logged
they
in
have
another account, so it'll take. Way
they
too
have
long.
the gaming channel.
Right,
They
so
have the
their own
abridged
gaming
channel.
and their gaming channel. They play a bunch of different games, and a lot of their stuff outside of Dragon Ball Z is still very funny. But Vegeta plays. Essentially, it's like the Renegade for Life series.
Yeah.
It's Vegeta, Renegade for Life, and then like they make a Saiyan pun with whatever the game title is. Excuse me.
Dragon Ball pun.
Usually it's a Saiyan pun.
Oh, gotcha.
But yes, a Dragon Ball pun.
Gotcha. So I thought
the ones where he plays stuff by himself, hilarious.
right.
Two Saiyans play is him and Nappa playing things against each other and usually fighting games.
Yeah.
Which are amazing. And then Krillin plays is essentially they make Krillin play scary games like Resident Evil or Slender Man or
Right, but
like
if
all
you're
these
not
creepy,
familiar
creepy
with the
games.
show, it's just the characters from the show.
Right, playing certain games.
Right, because if you're in the 90s and you're a guy, there's a 98% chance you watch Dragon
I
Ball
would hope
watching up.
anyone that is watching this would be familiar with Dragon Ball.
For sure. Well, but
you know,
anyways, my biggest
really proud of those units.
what I thought was interesting though was that Dragon Ball Z last show that they did
Dragon Ball Super.
was GT.
Dragon Ball Super.
That's the newest one.
Correct.
No. So before the one that
okay,
they
okay.
did, the
Maybe I
last
should just
one
let
that
you
they
finish
did,
your
yeah,
thought.
maybe.
Can I finish?
The last one they did was GT. That was done in the early 90s.
Later
late 90s.
Late
Late
90s.
90s.
Because
Late
Dragon,
90s.
so Dragon Ball
Z
and Dragon
was
Ball
early
Z
90s.
was actually made in like the late 80s. And it just came to America
Fair.
in the 90s.
Fair. Then
But Dragon Ball GT was toilet paper.
toilet paper, and it's
And
like
I think they've actually like come out and apologized.
they got
for
rid of it. It's
Yeah.
now no longer canon.
Yeah.
They don't consider it.
So
a
that's
series.
what Dragon Ball Super was. The Dragon Ball Super was
before I
them
even get
apologizing
there-
for GT.
Before I even get there, after they did GT, well, the famous story of Dragon Ball Z was supposed to end with Frieza. That's actually how it
Right.
was supposed to end. It was never supposed to keep going. But there was so much pressure on Toei that he ended up, or Toei Animation, but
Right.
that
He did Cell and Boo.
he did the androids, and then the guy didn't like it. Whoever the okay guy is, I don't know who that is in this situation, but he hated the idea of 18 and 19 being the main villains. So while the Cell
Right,
series
while the
is going,
manga is being written.
yeah, while it's already out that the androids are going to be the villain.
Right.
They changed it to Cell. That's
Right.
pretty crazy. Like mid-fly.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, because but like all of this is based on manga. as opposed to
Right.
like the cartoons. So it's very much like The Walking Dead was up to a point where like you have the graphic novel, and as the graphic novel comes out, that kind of shapes the story.
Right.
And so I think with GT, they essentially just scrapped the manga, and they were like, yeah, I'm sorry, this never happened. Don't worry about this.
Yeah.
And then they started doing the manga again, and that was when like, so they came out with the manga. The manga had 18 and 19, which were Dr. Giro's clone and the big fat guy.
What?
17 and 18. I'm sorry, 19 and 20.
Yeah.
19 and 20.
No, 16 and 15. No, you're right. It is 20.
I think it's 19.
19 and 20. You're right.
Yeah.
It's 19 and 20.
I don't know.
Well,
Anyway,
not the point.
It's
Yeah.
not the point. It's not the point.
I'm still not even on the point that I was trying to
The
get
first
at.
2 androids that they came out with, they were like, these are the bad guys. And then somebody was like, they can't be. These guys are stupid looking.
Right.
Make better androids.
They didn't like it as a boy and a girl. They
So-
just thought like
right. So then-
it needs to be a monster.
Right. So then they came out with 17 and 18, which are the brother-sister android combo.
Right.
And they were like, that's better, but now it needs to be a monster.
Yeah.
Like, they can't just be the villains.
Correct. But anyways, so then you had the Cell Saga, you had the Boo Saga, then you had GT, and then nothing.
For years.
For years, you had nothing. My biggest problem with Toei going after Team 4-Star is that I think that's really unfair. Now, I've been having the debate in my head
That's tough. That's
for
a tough one
both
for me.
sides. So I do have both sides of it, and I really don't know how I feel about it. Because you have one side, Toei's side.
Right.
First of all, it's their property. They made it up. It's their animation.
100%.
For people that don't
Right.
watch the show, it's literally the show just edited in a way that they manipulate the lips to make it look like they're saying...
Sometimes they don't even do that. They just take clips from the show and overdub the voices.
Right. So making them say what they want.
As it's gone on, they've gotten more involved with editing the eyes and the facial expressions of characters to better suit what they're doing. But originally, it was literally just clips from the show
Right.
and redubbing the audio
And in the abridged
with very
series,
accurate voice acting, by the way.
Right, and in the abridged series, what they are is a overemphasis on the characters from the show. It's like over dramatized.
Right, they're over dramatizing.
Dramatized. That you could put that underneath
I
the
planned
fucking...
on it. Don't you
Dramatized.
friggin'
What
worry.
an idiot, dude.
Dramatizing?
Oh my god, sometimes, dude, I'm so stupid.
Over dramatizing.
That's not what I wanted.
They're
Anyways.
they're overemphasizing each character's
Right.
personality
Right,
to a point where it's silly.
right.
Like
So-
literally actually silly. Not like, oh, that's silly. Like they're goofy silly.
But the Team 4-Star guys
Mr. Popo.
are all Dragon Ball Z fans.
Correct.
And they
Correct.
kept your series afloat while you had this hiatus that you weren't even going to do more Dragon Ball
Correct.
stuff. The real
You had
big
put
problem,
the kibosh on it.
Right. So the biggest problem I have is now Dragon Ball Super came out, which I never watched, but I heard
It was good.
Everybody who's watched it says it's really good.
It's if you compare it to GT, it's the greatest thing
Yeah,
ever
well, yeah.
ever created.
Yeah, it's not
like
dog
literally.
shit. Amazing.
No, but like that's what I'm saying is
Yeah.
like if you're using GT is
Yeah,
like
yeah.
this is what
Would you
GT
rather
was
get
supposed
kicked in
to
the
be.
nuts or punched in the face? Well, I'd rather not either. It's like-
It was good. The animation was amazing.
right.
The fight scenes were amazing.
Yeah.
The cool thing is that they use different animators.
Right.
And for the last fight scene in it, I'm not gonna like ruin it for you or anything, but the last
Probably never
fight
gonna watch
scene
it.
in Dragon Ball Super, they brought back like the original animator
Yeah. Yeah.
to animate that fight scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was, and you can actually like when you know it,
Yeah.
just watching it from a layperson standpoint of just like not knowing anything about animation at all, like me, like I'm not an animation expert by any means, but when I watched a video
Or
that,
even a mediumist. Make it up words. I'm having so much
I
fun.
can't draw, period. So take it at face value.
First animation that was stick
But
figures.
I watched. Yes, exactly. I'm really good at drawing pictures of dicks. Cut that part out.
Absolutely not. Stays in.
So I watched a video on like how they brought in different animators and everything. And if you go back and watch like this animator did this and this animator did this, you can actually see the difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just all really good animation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Story arc was pretty good. Some of it was a little cheesy, but I think it's because Unlike
That's fair.
Unlike certain things like Harry Potter, if you look at Harry Potter, it evolves with the people.
Bring up
I know
Harry
we're
Potter.
going down.
Don't you
we're going
dare
down a
bring
rabbit
up
hole.
Harry Potter. How dare you do that? Because you know I'm gonna go down a Harry Potter hole. Why would you do that?
We're not. I want you to agree with me on one thing.
So let's talk about Harry Potter.
Stop. I want you to agree with me on one point that I'm making relating these two things.
Sure.
With Harry Potter, the first
son
3
of a
books
bitch.
were written more for children.
Correct.
And as the series progresses, it becomes more mature.
Agreed.
Right. Dragon Ball Z didn't do that with this. They kept the same audience. It didn't mature with the audience that fell in love with Dragon Ball Z. So they kept some cutesy stuff in there that I could have done without. But at the same time, overall, it was very good.
Mm-hmm. So what you're trying to tell me is Goku is like Harry Potter.
Yes, exactly. Well, actually, technically, Gohan would be Harry Potter because he's got the scar. But
Gohan doesn't have a scar.
in the Android saga, he does.
In the alternate reality. Yeah,
exactly.
okay, you loser.
You some bitch. But yeah, I mean, I don't.
So what I really wanted to talk about was the two different sides of that was ridiculous. If you don't watch this at all, please go and skip to this time. I can't even time it right because we had to take so many pauses. Goddamn dog. It's like 105-ish. Because I don't know what I just watched there.
Cut it out. You never even know.
I don't know what side I would be on in this argument because I literally feel like I can make a very valid argument for both sides.
I don't know enough of the details involved to truly be on a side. I will say this.
Well, what details do you need to know?
I will say this. If Team 4-Star offered to pay royalties to Toei Animation,
Toei doesn't want them to make a single dollar. That's it.
That's
even
where
giving
I
up.
have an issue.
Right.
Because if Team 4-Star says, we like doing this, we are making money doing this,
And we've kept your fan base
and
alive.
we want to pay you for the rights to do this, and Toei says, no, go fuck yourself, then shame on you, Toei.
Yeah. I think so, at least.
Because it's just like the music industry. If you're going to sample a song, you got to pay for the royalties.
Right. If you make a remix of something that's better,
You
then
got to pay for the royalties.
Like, don't you want to listen to the remix?
Pay the man.
Like,
Just pay the man.
It honestly bothers me that, like, because at first, I'll tell you, like, when I was watching the video, at first I got really annoyed because I was being very selfish, and I totally admit I was being very selfish. I was like, damn, like, that's really annoying. Like, I'm going to unsubscribe to this channel.
I've been waiting months and months for the next episode.
I was literally like, I'm going to unsubscribe from this channel because they're getting rid of one of my favorite shows.
Yeah.
So screw them.
The reason why I'm
And then
falling in
as
love
I
with the
watched the video, and like the main writer, the editor who does the voice of Trunks, and he does all this stuff, he like broke down, started crying, and he was like, "Listen, like I understand, like we're gonna lose a lot of subscribers to this. I know that most of you guys want to like
Dragon Ball Z
watch
Abridged
this
is what made them
for sure,
famous.
for sure. The name of the channel is Team 4-Star, which is a reference to
Right.
a joke that they make in the show.
Correct.
Team 3-Star. I told you to break his neck.
Star when I do it.
No, my favorite is if he used that wish to wish himself to be immortal, I'll kill. Son of a bitch. That's my favorite joke. No, the Godzilla joke's my favorite joke.
Godzilla.
But if you don't know,
we're just talking nonsense.
No, they're all references to the show because that's what I'm getting at. Like, I really truly enjoyed that show. That show was very funny. So like, when I was watching the video, I was very selfishly like, dude, like screw you guys. Like, I'm unsubscribing to your channel. Like, you know, I know this YouTube life is based off subscribers. Like,
I would never do that to you, Team 4-Star. I love you.
no, but the truth is, and then like once they started like explaining themselves, and like I saw how emotional they were getting, I was like, damn, that was a dick reaction to have. So I totally admit that like I was being a dick there.
It really
but, like,
sucks because those guys are super talented.
and they're so funny.
But
it's funny because if you watch the show,
just about everything they do is funny.
right. Well, I don't know about that because I just don't know. I just don't watch.
Like I've deep dived into a lot of their stuff. Just about everything they do is pretty funny.
Yeah.
I'll say they're funnier when they're doing things in groups.
Yeah.
When it's like one or two guys just kind of like playing a game, not doing characters or anything, it's more interesting but not as funny.
Okay.
But that's
fair enough.
But that's also, it's not in my wheelhouse of things I like to watch.
Yeah. Yeah. It's normal.
So, but like anything, it is not just the Dragon Ball Z stuff. Anything they've done as a group, like when all of them are involved, even when it's just all four of them. There was one they were playing like a Wii game or something stupid, right? And it was like just the four of them doing a fighting game together, and just to watch how into it they get, and they're yelling at each other, and they're all like in the same room playing the Wii.
Yeah,
like hilarious.
I'm sure.
You know what I mean?
I'm sure.
So it just, for me, it sucks because it seems like, again, being on the outside, it seems like they tried to do the right thing, and Toei was like, no, go fuck you.
Yeah,
Now,
that's what it
could
feels
be-
like to me.
It could be a cultural thing where Toei was like, you should have come to us first, and because we've been disrespected,
But that's
then
a bullshit
you guys
statement.
can suck
if
it.
they were to say that, that's a bullshit statement, because there's no way
It's bullshit
that they would.
to us.
No. But let's be realistic here, because if you and me were just
We
send
also,
like
we also
an
don't
email.
know how far back this goes.
But if I were to send an email
Uh-huh.
to a random, a successful company that has like successful like anime shows, like they're not gonna be like, oh, okay, random person, of course
no,
you can
they're
use
not-
my show.
that's not how
So
it's
that's
gonna-
what I'm saying.
right,
So
that's
that's
not how it's gonna
bullshit. If they
No,
were to say something, I'm not saying like I'm saying if they said that.
I'm saying
That would be a
sorry,
bullshit
let me
statement.
Let me rework that. If Team 4-Star started doing Dragon Ball Z Abridged,
And then once it became
and
successful,
Toei found out and said cease and desist, right? That's where we're at. The very beginning of this, the first time those guys got a cease and desist letter. If they reached out to Toei and said, "Hey, listen, we're really sorry. Yes, we're making money off this. We'd be happy to pay you for the rights." If that's how it went down, and Toei said, "No, fuck you. We just don't want you doing this with our show," then shame on you, Toei.
it's a little bit of both, because I've seen some of their videos where they explain some of it. Obviously, I don't know the inner workings of
Right,
the.
because we don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
Right, and I'm only getting it from one side, and it's the Team 4-Star side. But they've expressed multiple times that they're just fans. They are making money from it, but they're making money off lines that they're creating from that show. So
Right,
the
they're-
show is not theirs.
They're using the show to create original content.
Right, and they're creating original lines that are funny and then selling them
Correct.
as
That-
their DBC stuff.
I
But
don't
that's
know.
not your
right,
line, because
don't-
I made that
I
up.
don't know if you can relate it entirely to the musical industry,
Right.
in the sense of like sampling a song when you're making a remix, like P. Diddy did, or countless other people have done. Right.
There's a lot of songs that the remix is better than the original.
Yes,
where
absolutely.
like in hip hop,
but
like, you have remix songs
when
completely.
when Sean Combs, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, I don't even know what he's going on.
Diddy.
Yeah, Diddy, sure,
You-
Diddy.
You said everything besides the correct answer.
Okay.
That was amazing.
So when Diddy did
Sergio.
I'll Be Missing You,
yeah,
when the big fat guy died.
Biggie.
Yeah, him.
Smalls,
Yeah, him. That guy. The guy that was almost as good as Tupac.
almost.
Yep. He sampled The Police. He had to pay for the rights.
Right.
Right. The song was great. The lyrics to the song were completely composed by the people who were performing the song.
Yep.
They just sampled The Police as a background track.
I made a better song.
Easy.
I knew you were gonna say that. I
Easy.
knew
That's
you were
a
gonna say that.
Story for a different day. We can talk about samples and whether or not we like the original more on another episode.
Fair enough. We could debate it.
We can debate it. But like, I don't know how equal that is to taking the animation and creating the lyrics and combining the two to make original
Right.
content.
No, I understand.
Like, you know what I mean? Because it's really somebody. I mean, the way I look at it is, in the music industry, somebody did. If you're sampling a song and creating a song around it, somebody did 50% of the work. You did the other 50.
Right.
For this, I feel like the animation, the cartoon, Toei probably did 70% of the work originally.
Mm-hmm.
Toei did 70% of the work, and
Well, I'm
these
still
guys
probably
did
gonna get them
30% of the
70%.
work.
Because I mean, editing
No,
is a
I'm
lot,
just saying.
but I mean,
Right.
it's
So
not
like,
like they're drawing
but
anything.
these guys, exactly, they're not doing any animating.
Right.
Animating. They're not doing any animating.
So do you get one of the lines now?
Animating? Well, but it's hard to put emphasis.
Well, I get the line every time I mess up.
Because you said a completely wrong word that doesn't exist. I pronounced a word incorrectly.
Roll it back.
All right, how about I do this? I'll just put a little arrow and say, "Nice job, asshole." It's not pronounced that way.
Perfect.
Okay.
I'm happy now.
I'll see what I can do.
Yeah.
I don't have Photoshop. Or Final Cut Pro.
Just JPEG it. Dude, that would look so bad.
I'm not even gonna JPEG. I'm just
Please
gonna put on
JPEG
the
it.
screen, asshole.
Yeah.
Big bold letters.
Dude, I have you doing a lot of editing
So
this week.
until Team 4-Star started like editing the actual animation, I think it was like a 70-30 split. Once they started editing the animation itself, not just the show itself, like because they were cutting clips, but once they started editing the facial expressions and doing stuff, I would say that's closer to 50-50. But I don't know, man. That's so tough because like
It's very tough.
As a fan of
It's hard
both,
to take the fan hat off.
well, and I'm a fan of both. Like I'm a fan of both
Right.
equally.
Right.
Like I have a Dragon Ball Z tattoo.
Right.
And it is the 3-star Dragon Ball. And the reason why it's the 3-star Dragon Ball is because of Team 4-Star.
Right.
Like it's the reason I have this tattoo is 50-50 Team 4-Star and Dragon Ball Z.
Right.
Like it's hard for me to even like remotely come close to being able to pick a side.
I told you it was kind of sad.
It's sad that because I can't like
Can't do anything.
It bums me out that
Totally.
they couldn't come to an agreement.
Yeah.
I'm more disappointed if Toei is really just being the way they're being and saying like we want you to have nothing to do with our show for no reason whatsoever.
I can almost guarantee that's what it's like.
If that's the case, I'm really bummed about Toei.
But I also just think it's also kind of like a slap in the face because I really do understand both sides of the argument. I really do. Like I get where Toei's coming from, but my biggest problem with all of it, I think my number one, like if I were to make one statement about all of it, it would be like I just think it's weird that you did nothing with your product, right? Someone else
for years
came and
they
improved your
almost
product.
revitalized interest in your
They absolutely did. They absolutely did. You took all this time and you didn't do anything with it, and somebody's doing it. Now, if I'm the creator of that, I understand feeling a certain way about that, especially because if you're making my character look different than the way I want him to see.
right.
Like people are gonna see Goku
Because
and
that's
be
the
like,
thing is like Goku is an absolute idiot in a
Right.
Team 4-Star version, but it's
but he
hilarious.
really is like that in the show though, because it's an overdrop.
Right. So hold on.
I was gonna do it, but I stopped myself. I saw the dramatization. I stopped. There's a hard like
You pulled the reins
you
real
don't have
hard
to,
on that.
but a great
Would work perfectly right there. So in the original show, like the Japanese version,
where the woman is the voice of
Goku he's not an idiot, he's uneducated.
Yeah. Think about it. All he does is fight. I mean,
Right, exactly. No,
that's pretty
but, like,
accurate.
so when you watch that show and you see and actually in Dragon Ball Super, you can see it as well. Because if you watch Dragon Ball Super with subtitles where they're actually speaking Japanese and then you have the American subtitles, his grammar is terrible. And they do it on purpose because all he does is fight. So Team 4-Star just emphasized that and was like, well, let's just make Goku a complete idiot who just loves to fight.
Well, also because that's really what his character is.
Yes.
Like
but it's just exaggerated. But
Right.
my point is that like he's not adult like Team 4-Star makes him out to be. He's
also not the smartest.
He's not smart.
Yeah.
He's just uneducated because all he does is fight.
Right.
Same thing with Krillin. Like Krillin in the show is a weaker character
Like Earth.
in the original show.
He's like Earth's greatest fighter, though.
At a time, yes.
No, he's always Earth's greatest fighter. I mean, Goku's obviously
a non-Saiyan because
Right.
Gohan was born.
Right. It's half.
So yeah, he's like the strongest non-Saiyan fighter most of the time.
yeah.
Tien maybe passes him for like a really quick second.
Yeah, but that's Dragon Ball. Like not even
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Z.
But anyway, so like Krillin is like he ends up being pretty weak compared to a lot of the foreign bad guys that they
Aliens
see.
and-
Right, exactly. So what Team 4-Star does is they're like, well, let's just make it so that every time Krillin gets his ass kicked, we have a Krillin own count that comes up on the screen.
Right. And just like
Hilarious.
how Vegeta's always
Right.
angry and always
Exactly.
talking about being the
Same
prince.
thing.
Right.
It's like they overemphasize
Everything.
a specific
From the
aspect
show.
of everyone's personality,
Right.
which makes it really funny.
Right.
And I think Toei probably just took great offense to that.
So now, if I'm Toy, and I would say that if I could make money off it, then fine. Then
Yeah.
I think they're entitled to.
They're entitled to make money off it 100%.
I think they have to if they're going to be
Yeah.
able to do it. I think. Oh, you're saying Toy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. Because at the end of the day, it is something that he made.
Correct.
You
It's
know?
their brainchild.
Right.
And somebody else is warping their brainchild to make a profit.
But to
They're
say
they're
you
yeah.
can't do it at all, that I have a problem with. Like that, I just don't think that that's fair. Really, it's like I kept your product alive, and now you're just gonna be like, oh, too bad. Like it's mine. So, yeah, it's like almost like the 7-year-old who's like mine.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. It's so tough, dude.
Yeah.
It's so tough.
All right. Well, I have you doing a lot of editing, so it's just I want the full.
I just did it. I'm
Yeah.
just going to cut that out. And
Well,
put
I did it
back.
before. You could just use the one that I did.
Really proud
Blew
of those,
your
really proud of
mind.
those units.
Thank you for watching. This has been Can I Finish Podcast. I have been your host, Billy Mack. That has been JR.
It has been.
been a
I'm
good
not
time.
anymore, though.
No.
No.
F
F that noise.
Next time you're going to be a different JR.
That's correct. Also, if you're keeping up with Mystery in Our History podcast, you now know that I am a flat earther and a lizard people supporter.
So if I remember correctly, lizard people never admit that they're lizard people. So now I know that you're lying.
No, I'm a lizard people believer. I'm not a lizard person.
Oh, you're joining the 12 million.
Yes,
Dude,
I am.
that's
It's
insane.
12,000,001
Dude,
because
insane.
lizard people exist and the Earth is flat.
12
That's
million
the stance
people.
I'm taking from here on out. Because if everybody else gets to be a ridiculous fucking moron, then I want to be too.
I kind of hope the rest of that was cut. No.
I may cut this part out.
You'll be lucky if you see this.
Hey guys, thanks for listening. If you have any suggestions or topics for us to cover, email us at 4guysmedianetwork@gmail.com. If you're on the go, you can subscribe to our shows on iTunes. Be sure to check out our Patreon page, 4 Guys Media Network, for access to exclusive content like minisodes and more. We have a lot of goals to hit, so we can keep improving and continue providing more content ad-free. So all of your donations are greatly appreciated. Make sure you subscribe to the 4 Guys Media Network YouTube channel for all of our other projects by clicking the link on the right. And lastly, if you want to watch another episode, just click the link on the left. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.